Hey, welcome back. I am here today, even though it's about the start of the year, and I wanted to keep something at the top of everyone's mind. And that is the recent news that started popping up on Instagram and on Blue Sky that Amazon has started scraping people's websites, the websites of individual and independent artists and makers, for products that they are now selling on something called, I think it's like Amazon for Me, or Find It for Me, or Buy It for Me. Honestly, I don't want to give them the traffic. So I'm not trying to be intentionally vague. I'm just trying not to give them the specific traffic. And I want to talk to you about why it's a problem. Some a take that I saw earlier on Instagram was that, oh, what does it matter if you're still getting sales? And I think it's actually a really big deal, and I want to tell you about all of the reasons why it's really a big deal. And also, even though we're a few days past the initial news cycle about this, I think it's actually important to keep information like this top of mind because people have short attention spans and they tend to, lose track of what they're supposed to care about. It happens to all of us. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about why I think this is still really, really deeply important. I'm also just going to say up front, if you're this far into the video and you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and leave a comment, I'm going to urge you to actually listen to the video or at the very least read the summary and notes that I'm going to leave in the comments before you leave your comment, because there's a very good chance that I will already be addressing whatever argument you would like to present to counter whatever it is that I have to say. So go ahead, give it a listen. If you have to listen at 2 times speed, don't worry, I do that all the time. I actually encourage people to do it. I think it makes it easier for a lot of people to process podcasts. I'm a big fan, so go ahead and do that. So the first problem, so problem number one with Amazon doing this is that this is being done non-consensually. And to my mind, this is actually the primary argument, and almost no argument actually matters after that. The fact is that they did this without talking to the people whose products they scraped from the internet. They didn't announce it. They didn't say, hey, would you like to be a part of this? No, they just scraped it and started sending sales people's way. So that to me makes almost any other argument in favor of it irrelevant, because this should be in business. When you're selling a product, there should be consent at all levels. You should help people understand what they're buying and why they're buying it. I'm actually a really big fan of consent marketing. I tell people that you should not opt people into your email list unless they have explicitly given permission. I tell people that you shouldn't be forcing your products onto people if they don't want it. People should be able to be self-determining. And so consent is at the heart of all of that. And Amazon did this without any of that. So to me, that has already broken trust. And almost anything that you would want to do with this company afterwards is going to be suspect. So that's number one. It's taken the business out of your hands. But number two, and this is actually the big one. So if you're working on your business and you are planning on being in this business for the long haul, and I do encourage pretty much all of my clients to view their business through the lens of longevity, right? You're not just doing this for 2 years. It's really hard to start a business. You might as well give it your all and be in it to win it for a long time. And that takes some careful planning. That definitely takes some knowledge, some skill building. It does. But business for the longevity is a great idea. And if you look at the more successful businesses, that's kind of the way that they viewed it too. They haven't just viewed it as a fly by night and I'm going to try it. They're working on it as a business. And this thing that Amazon's done by scraping people's sites, it has actually removed the ability for some of these business owners to practice that, to view their business through the lens of longevity. And that is for one core reason. It's because it's taking your brand out of the equation, right? So there's no brand recognition when Amazon does this. It sort of slightly mentions your business name, but there's no visual representation of your brand. There's no storytelling. It's just the commodity. And the thing is, building loyalty, building for longevity, building relationships with your customers, this has actually been a core part of building a business for longer than I've been alive, and that's been a while. So this is a cornerstone, right? Like you build loyalty, the old adage about how your 20% of your customers will help you build 80% of your business, or that it costs you more to find a new customer than to retain an old one. That's still very true. And that is still worth incorporating into your business planning is how do you encourage that loyalty? And the problem with Amazon is that they are taking that ability away from you when they scrape your sites like this. And here's how I came to this. So, this is still part of taking your brand out of consideration. About a decade ago, I had still been selling on Etsy and on my own website, but I noticed this trend when I would talk to people, and I did talk to a lot of people. I've worked in retail for years and customer service. I've worked for small businesses. And this phenomena I noticed was that if you ask people where they got something, oh, that's a cute jacket. Oh, that's a cute notebook. Oh, I love this card. Oh, I love this pin. Where'd you get that sticker? Their response would sometimes be, oh, I got it on Etsy. Do you see the problem with that? They said, I got it on Etsy. They didn't say who they got it from on Etsy. They said, I got it on Etsy. I still get this from people. I see them like they have something cute and they say, oh, I got it on Amazon. I don't know what brand it is. They just got it on Amazon because Amazon and Etsy have a lot of money. They have a lot of investment. They have a lot of VC funding, and they've been able to spread their brand worldwide, right? In a way that you and I might not have the ability to do because we don't have a gajillion dollars to spend on advertising. And so what Etsy did is they functionally took away the branding from individual artists and sellers on their platform. And now if you ask someone, oh, where did you get this? They'll say, I got it on Etsy, not from Joe's shop, not from Marion's shop, not from Alice's shop. They got it on Etsy. And this is what Amazon is also going to do. The consumers who are already on Amazon's platform who see these listings and are like, that's a cool thing, they're not going to tell someone, oh, I got this from, Bobo's ice cream shop. No, they're going to say, I got it on Amazon. So it's taking your brand completely out of your hand. There's not going to be any credit coming back to you because they didn't find it on your site. They found it on Amazon. And it's going to supplant your own branding. The person behind the work is going to be totally forgotten. And the other part of this is I've already seen people saying like, oh, but this is going to be so great for exposure. And my question to you is, where exactly is the exposure to your brand? They've got the product. If you're not branding everything that you make, you don't have like your signature on every t-shirt. You don't have your website on every card. Maybe they're going to still say like, I got it on Amazon. They're not going to know who you are. They're not going to come back and buy from you again. Again, it cuts out that ability to create loyalty with your customers. So it's actually not good for exposure at all because no one will know who you are or who the person was behind the product. They won't have any idea. So problem number 3 is apparently this scraping was done with AI, artificial intelligence. It is actually not particularly intelligent because something that we have already seen, a number of brands have already posted about this on Instagram, is that it scraped their sites, but in doing so, it sometimes scraped older products, discontinued products, seasonal products, products that are maybe limited edition that you could easily become oversold on. And Amazon's not going to take any responsibility for making these sales if you are sold out of this product. If you get oversold, that's going to be your problem, not Amazon's. And so now you as the individual artist, you're going to be responsible for now being a professional customer service worker, which, yes, you already were before, but this is going to exacerbate a customer service problem because someone who's shopping on Amazon isn't necessarily thinking in terms of like limited edition products or discontinuation of a product. They're not worried about that. And because this is not happening on your site, you have no ability to tell the story, right? You don't get to intervene in advance and share with people like, oh, actually, this is limited edition. Sorry, like there were just so many made, right? Which is a common thing that a lot of artists do. I've done it, as a jeweler with like limited edition stones that I can't just always get because they were, a specific Australian sapphire or this one kind of tanzanite or this opal that was only mined in this one place, right? There was a storytelling process that told the provenance of the piece and explained why you can't just reproduce this 1,000 times. That is a different consumer base than what Amazon is serving. And because their artificial intelligence isn't that intelligent, they've scraped these sites for products that you as a consumer might not be able to buy. And so now you're going to be dealing with angry customers who aren't going to be mollified by this idea that it's actually Amazon's fault because they don't care. They didn't understand what was happening in the process. Amazon's not helping them with that part at all, right? They're just, sending the sale to you and being like, okay, this is your problem now, even though you did not opt into this. And a side note, I am in the notes in the comments. I am going to drop a link to the email address that you can use if you would like to opt out of the service on Amazon. There is a way to do this. You do have to email them. It is a longer process than it should be. This should not be happening, but I will help you through that part and get you that email address. Now we come to point number 4. This is the last point. We actually don't know yet where Amazon will be going with this. As I mentioned at the top, the first problem with all of this is that this is done non-consensually, which means you don't get to know what Amazon's plan is for any of this. There isn't a lot of trust here, right? So where are they going with this? Will they eventually charge a referral fee, whether you want them to or not? Maybe. Etsy actually kind of did that already, where they run ads on your behalf, and there's some ways of opting out, but it's not easy. So sometimes you get charged an advertising fee, even if you didn't want to advertise through Etsy, right? We could make some assumptions that Amazon might go that direction. We actually don't know yet because they haven't told anyone. Will they throttle traffic via their Amazon Web Services to other websites, thereby making it harder for you to sell online in any other way except their platform? Maybe. We don't know yet. Are they going to measure the traffic to products and individual sites to get the measure of what's selling and what's popular and collect that data so that they can dupe your product or duplicate your product and sell them without you being involved at all or getting any credit or any money? Maybe. They've done versions of that in the past, or they've at least allowed other sellers on Amazon to do exactly that, to take the measure of a product that is popular and then duplicate it without credit or money or licensing going to the artist. That's actually already happened on Amazon. This could be another way for them to decide to go that route. We actually don't know yet. I am just theorizing about where they might take this based on their past behavior and based on the past behavior of other platforms. But the truth is that we don't know where they're going. And if you wind up putting all of your eggs in Amazon's basket, or if you wind up putting any of your eggs in Amazon's basket, this could be your future. And I say this at least in part as somebody who used to sell on Etsy and then chose not to at a point because of all of the things that I've listed. And the truth is that Amazon is monopolistic. This isn't new, and this isn't news. We know this about them. They've always been like this. But because we already know this about them, we can make assumptions about why they want to scrape everyone's sites, and it's not going to be to benefit you or me. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you listening. If you do have questions, please drop them in the comments. I am going to drop that email address that you can send an opt-out to for Amazon if you don't want your website scraped. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much.